when you're in the front line, right? So I think there's always going to be a small part of the population in any industry, any place where they're going to be a bit tyrannical or kind of get off on control and those kind of things. And that's humans are like. There's always the 1 to 5%.
Yeah.
But then you also have people who are good people who would get frustrated, like they get that angry towards people. It's like, just come on, just do what we're supposed to do. Like, come on. And that's when you get the videos called the police officer like getting angry or like being a bit of a dick or whatever it is. And then they use that to represent the whole force. It's like, that's just someone who's had up to their teeth, like going over and over this thing again. And I wonder, not just with COVID, but also your experience being a street officer and like your experience with dealing with the public, because me as a citizen, I walk out in the street and I'm living in Australia, which is, by most recent indexes on the news that I've read, is one of the most peaceful and best places to live in the world. Sydney, Melbourne, like all these places. I walk out in the street, for the most part, I can walk out the street 4 a.m. in the morning in the Southern Shire here. Nothing will happen to me. not one thing will happen to me.
Yeah.
Because we've got something good going on here. So, but then that's because you guys come in and you clear it all out, like you're doing with these people. So what is that like, and how has that changed your opinion on humanity and people and life, if at all?
It's interesting that you're absolutely spot on, and it's like my wife, she actually fears going out to, because we normally live in Melbourne, and
Right.
And she doesn't want to go out at night and walk the streets by herself. But I know full well, and it's I don't sit there trying to convince her, but I know full well that it is actually quite safe to walk the streets of Melbourne at night. Your chances of being harmed in some way are very, very slim. And but there's still that fear that's instilled, whether it be media or friends or whatever, that's actually,
Also being a female as well, I guess.
Yeah, it is, and but it's when it comes to policing more generally, like when look back at historically, police forces, particularly Western police forces, were designed to, or the philosophy behind them was that we're there more to prevent crime rather than go and solve it. And so, also part of that is police can only police properly with the consent of the community. So bear in mind, so let's just say in Victoria there's, I think it's about 16,000 sworn police. The population of Victoria is, I think, at the moment, about 5 million. Now, if thinking about, if police didn't have the consent of the community to police, it would be absolutely overrun and absolute mayhem. And,
of course.
And you'd even go back, I think it was 1923 was like the police in Victoria went on strike, and it was just riots and looting and everything in the street. And
wow.
So it's a perfect example of what can happen if police don't have the first of all, the authority, but also the consent of the community. And a good example is even you got a protest. You might have a protest, a normal protest of, say, might be 5,000 people, for example. It could probably take only up to, say, maybe a dozen to 18 police to actually manage that appropriately. Say, direct people where to go, deal with it. If it's just your normal peaceful protest, there's a bit going on in the background to plan for it. That's cool, but on the day, that's really what's needed. Because if we didn't have the consent of that those 5,000 people could turn on us in a second, but because people go, well, the police are here to protect us, direct us in the right way. We have that trust, and so the consent of the community and the I suppose the orderly way in which people, I suppose, just the way Australia is, I don't know, it's just a sort of quite a law-abiding country, that people just tend to go, right, there's the police. We actually do have trust in them. They're doing the right thing by us. They come from the community. They're not, say, let's just say, I don't know, they're not from, say, a country where they're completely separate. They're in their own compounds and that kind of thing. We're not we're not at that stage, and we never would. So we have the community is quite fortunate that the police come from the community.